The screech of tires cut through the sticky Los Angeles heat, followed by a sound that didn't belong on a quiet Tuesday morning. A scream. Not angry, not playful. A child's scream. Raw. Panicked. Maria dropped the rag she was using to scrub graffiti off the glass door of the bodega and spun around. Her chest tightened. She scanned the street. Normandy Avenue was usually loud, but this was different. Across the intersection, a boy, no older than 10, sprinted barefoot, arms flailing, clothes ripped, his face smeared with something red. "Hey!" Maria shouted without thinking. The boy didn't look. He stumbled, skidded on the hot asphalt and tried to get up. A black SUV rolled slowly around the corner, too slow for traffic, too steady to be lost. Tinted windows, no plates. Maria didn't think. She ran. Shoes slapping the pavement, heart thundering, she reached the boy just as he collapsed beside a mailbox, sobbing and gasping for breath. "Are you hurt?" she asked, crouching low. His eyes were wild. "He's coming." "He said he's gonna kill me." Maria turned. The SUV was 30 yards away and closing. Her stomach dropped. "Come on," she said quickly, scooping the boy into her arms. He was lighter than he looked, trembling like a leaf. "Hold on to me." They darted across the street, narrowly avoiding a bus. Horns blared. She didn't stop. The alley behind the bodega was narrow, tight, and smelled like rotten fruit, but it was her only shot. She ducked behind a dumpster, panting, the boy clutching her neck like he'd never let go. "Who is he?" she whispered. The boy shook his head, mute now. His body was slick with sweat, shaking hard. The SUV cruised past slowly, tires crunching gravel. Maria held her breath. Her back was damp against the metal. "Please don't stop, please don't stop." The car paused. A man's voice floated from a cracked window. "Find the kid, check the shops." Footsteps echoed. Maria pressed the boy tighter to her chest, heart hammering so loud she was sure they could hear it. The footsteps faded. It was 10 minutes before she moved. Even then, she checked the street 3 times before stepping out. "You have somewhere to go?" she asked him, brushing grit from his knees. He didn't answer, just stared up at her like she was the only thing tethering him to earth. "My name's Maria. I live above the store. You can stay until we figure something out, okay?" He gave a small nod, barely perceptible. Inside her tiny apartment, Maria made him sit at the table and brought out a washcloth, some ointment, and the last can of chicken noodle soup. "You want to tell me your name?" she asked gently. Silence. She opened the soup, poured it into a chipped bowl, and warmed it. The boy ate like he hadn't touched food in days. "Why were they chasing you?" she tried again. They said I wasn't supposed to talk," he murmured, not meeting her eyes. "About what?" He shrugged. Maria exhaled, mind racing. What had she just gotten herself into? "I need to call someone," she said, standing. "No." The boy's spoon clattered. "Please, they'll know, they'll find me, please don't." Maria froze. Something about the way he begged. It wasn't dramatics. It was survival. She nodded slowly. "Okay, no police, not yet." She watched as he curled up on the couch, eyes half closed, small frame swallowed by a threadbare blanket. He looked younger now, defenseless. And Maria, a cleaning lady who barely made rent, realized she'd just made a choice that might cost her everything. But letting him go, that was never an option. And if you're still watching, take a second to subscribe for more real stories like this one, and drop a comment if you've ever seen someone rise above the hate. You're not alone. By morning, the boy hadn't moved. Maria stood in her cramped kitchen, the hum of the fridge the only sound. She sipped weak coffee and watched him sleep. Sunlight edged through the window blinds, warming the peeling linoleum. He was curled up tight as if even in dreams he didn't feel safe. She crouched beside the couch. "Hey," she whispered. "You hungry again?" His eyes fluttered open. He looked older in daylight, 10, maybe 11, a split lip, a bruise blooming beneath his eye. He nodded. Maria handed him a slice of toast. "I only got bread and eggs. You okay with that?" He nodded again. She sat across from him and waited. Eventually he spoke. My name's Marcus. Just Marcus. No last name? She asked, keeping her tone soft. He shook his head. Can't tell you. Maria sighed. Okay, I get it. She didn't, but she respected it. Later that morning, she slipped into the bodega downstairs and begged Mr. Abdi, the owner, for 2 days off. You sick? No, I just need to help someone. He stared at her. Maria, you already behind on rent. I know. I'll work double next week, please. He muttered something under his breath, then handed her a loaf of bread and a box of cereal. 2 days, that's it. Thank you, she said, almost crying. Back upstairs, Marcus was sitting by the window watching the street. His shoulders tensed every time a car passed. Maria sat beside him. Want to tell me what happened? He didn't answer right away. They said my mum was dead, but she wasn't. She called me one night, whispered, told me to run, gave me an address in Compton, said never to trust anyone again. Then the call cut out. Maria's blood chilled. And then I ran, but they were already looking. They almost got me yesterday, but I jumped a fence and kept going. Maria swallowed. Do you know who they are? He hesitated. They dress nice, talk real quiet. They drive cars with no plates. One of them wears gold chains and has a tattoo that says Veritas on his neck. Maria leaned back. That didn't sound like random criminals, that sounded organized. You think they hurt your mom? He blinked hard. I think they killed her, for knowing something. Maria nodded slowly. Okay, then we keep you safe. But how? She had no money, no backup, and now, no protection if those men came looking. Later that day, she took Marcus out the back way and bought him a hoodie, sunglasses, and a pair of sneakers with what little she had left. You blend in, she told him. No more barefoot running. He smiled faintly. Thanks. They stayed indoors the rest of the day. Maria let him pick an old DVD to watch, The Iron Giant. He sat close to the TV, silent, eyes wide, mouthing the dialogue. When the robot said, I am not a gun, Marcus turned to her. I used to love this movie. My mum and I watched it all the time. Maria said nothing, just placed a hand on his shoulder. As the credits rolled, Marcus looked at her. Why are you helping me? Maria didn't answer right away. She thought of her own son, lost in a car accident 3 years ago. Same age, same smile. Because someone once helped me when I had nothing, she finally said. Now it's my turn. Outside, the black SUV returned. It parked across the street and didn't move. Inside, Maria and Marcus sat in silence, unaware that someone had just taken a photo of her apartment door. Maria heard the knock just after sunrise. 3 slow, deliberate raps. She froze mid-step. Her eyes darted to Marcus, still curled under the blanket on the couch. He was awake. She could tell by how stiff he'd gone. Another knock, not impatient, confident. Maria inched toward the peephole. A man in a grey suit stood there, hands in his pockets, sunglasses hiding his eyes. Next to him, a tall woman in athletic gear leaned against the doorframe, chewing gum like she had all day. Maria's pulse spiked. We're looking for a missing boy, the woman said through the door. Seen anything unusual lately? Maria didn't answer. We're not cops, the man added, as if that were comforting. Just concerned parties. Maria whispered to Marcus, Get in the closet now, don't make a sound. He obeyed without a word. She opened the door a crack, chain still fastened. Sorry. Just me here. The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. That right? What's your name? Maria. Maria. She didn't answer. The man leaned in. We've got reason to believe a child in danger may have passed through this building. You sure you haven't seen anything? Pretty sure. He tilted his head, scanning the apartment over her shoulder. Mind if we come in and look around? Yes. I do mind. He smirked. You got something to hide? Maria locked eyes with him. I got rights. The woman leaned forward. You do. But accidents happen. Doors get kicked in. You don't want that, do you? Maria didn't flinch. You threatening me? They stared at each other. The man adjusted his sleeves. The woman cracked her gum once, hard. Finally, they stepped back. "We'll be around," the man said, voice smooth. "Don't go anywhere." Maria shut the door and locked all 3 bolts. Her hands trembled. Marcus emerged from the closet. "They know I'm here." "Not for sure," she said, forcing calm. "But they're close." She pulled out her old flip phone, considered dialing 911, then stopped. What would she say? "I'm harboring a kid running from unknown people who might be murderers." They'd take him away. She couldn't let that happen. "We need to leave," she said. "Where?" Maria thought hard. "I have a cousin in Bakersfield. 3 hours by bus. She has a spare room. They won't think to look there." Marcus bit his lip. "What if they follow us?" "We'll leave tonight, in the rain. I'll cut through alleys, take back streets." "Will she let us stay?" "She owes me." It was a lie. They hadn't spoken in years. But Marcus didn't need more fear right now. That night, Maria packed 2 backpacks, one for each of them. Clothes, water, a jar of peanut butter, a bus schedule, and the only photo she had of her son. Before leaving, she taped a note to the inside of her front door. "Gone to take care of family, don't wait for me." She took Marcus's hand. "You ready?" He nodded. They crept down the back stairs. Rain fell hard, drumming against the metal railing. Maria pulled up her hood. The city was dark, but not asleep. Sirens wailed in the distance, neon signs buzzed, and somewhere a dog barked non-stop. At the corner they saw it, the black SUV parked, running. Maria's breath caught, but no one was inside. "Come on," she whispered. "Fast." They ran for the bus stop. From a nearby rooftop, a man with binoculars watched them disappear into the night, then pulled out his phone. "They're moving," he said into the receiver. "And you're not going to believe who the kid is." Maria kept Marcus close as the bus rumbled north along Highway 99. The windows were fogged from the rain, and the air inside smelled faintly of gasoline and old fast food. It was past midnight. Most of the other passengers were asleep. She stared out the window, fingers clutching the strap of her bag. Every time the bus slowed or headlights flashed behind them, her body tensed. Marcus had his head on her shoulder. She could feel his breath, shallow, uneven. "What if they find us?" he whispered. "They won't," she lied. "We're ghosts now." The words sounded braver than she felt. 2.5 hours later, they stepped off the bus in Bakersfield. The station was quiet, the surrounding streets deserted. Maria's cousin, Letty, lived in an aging stucco duplex off Niles Street. Maria hadn't called ahead. She knocked, harder with each hit. Finally, the door opened. "Maria?" Letty's eyes widened. "What the hell?" "I need a favor." Letty looked past her at Marcus. "Who's the kid?" "It's a long story." "Can we come in?" Letty hesitated, then stepped aside. Inside, her apartment was dim and cluttered, smelling of incense and old books. Maria explained as much as she could without putting Marcus in more danger. Strange men, danger, no police. Letty sighed. "You always had a way of showing up with chaos." "I wouldn't be here if it wasn't serious." Letty handed Maria a blanket. "One night. But if anything weird happens, I understand." Marcus slept on the couch again, curled tightly. Maria sat on the floor beside him, unable to rest. Her mind churned with questions. Why Marcus? Who were these people hunting him? What was so important they'd follow him across the state? By morning, it got worse. While Letty was at work, Maria stepped out to grab milk from the corner store. At the counter, she noticed the cashier staring at her, then at something behind the counter. She glanced down. A tabloid. TMZ Weekly. Right on the front. Snoop Dogg's secret son missing. Allegations of abduction, danger, and a woman seen fleeing with him. Maria froze. The photo underneath was grainy, but it was her. Her face, her apartment. Marcus beside her, barely visible, hoodie pulled low. Her stomach dropped. She dropped the milk and ran. Back at the duplex, she slammed the door behind her. Marcus looked up, startled. "What happened?" She held up the tabloid, shaking. "Is this true?" Marcus's face went pale. "You're his son?" she asked, breathless. Snoop Dogg's? Marcus swallowed. He doesn't know about me. My mum, she kept it quiet. She said it wasn't safe. Maria sat down hard. Why wouldn't it be safe? She worked for people who dealt with stuff. Money, music, deals. She knew things. Dangerous things. When she got pregnant, she left. They never forgot. Maria buried her face in her hands. Oh my God. I didn't want to lie. I didn't know how to say it. Everyone wants something from him. I didn't want you to be one of them. I'm not. I know. That's why I stayed. There was a knock at the door. This time Maria didn't move, neither did Marcus. The knock came again. Then a voice. Miss Hernandez, this is Officer Kim with the Bakersfield PD. We need to speak with you about the child in your custody. Marcus backed away from the door. Maria stood, heart in her throat. How did they find us? She whispered. Outside, the officer called again, more firm. Miss Hernandez, please open the door. Marcus looked at her. What now? Maria stared at the handle, jaw clenched. She didn't know. Maria didn't open the door. Instead, she grabbed Marcus's hand and darted toward the back of Letty's apartment. They climbed out the bedroom window just as the front door burst open with a loud bang. Officers. Voices shouted. Heavy boots thudded across the floor. They ran, cutting through yards, dodging trash cans and barking dogs. Maria had no idea where they were going, only that they couldn't stop. They made it 2 blocks before a cruiser pulled in front of them, lights flashing silently. Maria pushed Marcus behind her. A plainclothes detective stepped out slowly. No gun, no handcuffs. Just a phone in his hand. You're Maria Hernandez, right? He said. I'm Detective Rain. We're not here to arrest you. Then what do you want? She snapped, breathless. We've been trying to keep Marcus safe. Maria frowned. By chasing him down and scaring him half to death? The detective sighed. We didn't know who we could trust. There's people, powerful people, who don't want him found. You helped him, that matters. He extended the phone toward Maria. There's someone who wants to talk to you. He's been trying to reach Marcus. Maria hesitated, then took the phone. Hello, she said cautiously. A smooth, familiar voice came through, deep, calm. This Maria? Yes, this is Calvin Broadus. You probably know me as Snoop. Maria's legs nearly gave out. I've been looking for my son, he said, for years. I knew he existed, but his mama, she kept him out the picture to protect him. When I heard what happened, I pulled every string I had to get him back. But people got in the way. People I thought I could trust. Maria looked at Marcus. His eyes were full of confusion, fear, and something else, hope. I don't want to scare the boy, Snoop said. I want to know him. I want him safe. And from what I heard, you risked your life to make that happen. I didn't do it for anything, Maria whispered. He's a good kid. He deserves better than being hunted. I know. That's why I need your help. Maria handed the phone to Marcus with shaking hands. It's him, she said gently. Your dad. Marcus took the phone like it was made of glass. Hello, he said, voice cracking. There was a long silence, then his face changed, relaxed, softened. Tears welled in his eyes. He turned away slightly, clutching the phone to his ear, nodding as he listened. Maria stepped back, giving him space. Detective Rain watched quietly. He'll be taken care of now, he said. Properly, protected. Maria nodded, her throat thick. 10 minutes later, a sleek black SUV pulled up. But this time it was different. Inside were 2 men from Snoop's security team with credentials, soft voices, and concern in their eyes. Maria hugged Marcus before he got in. He clung to her fiercely. I don't want to leave, he whispered. You're not leaving, she said, brushing his curls from his forehead. You're going home. He pulled back. Will I see you again? You better, she said, trying to smile. I still owe you another bowl of soup. He laughed through his tears, then climbed into the SUV. As it pulled away, Maria stood in the middle of the street, soaked in sunlight, suddenly feeling the weight of what she'd carried for days. She had nothing left, no job, no money, no answers about tomorrow. But somehow she'd saved a life. Later that evening, her old flip phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Calvin. I want to meet you. I want to thank you. In person." She stared at the screen, stunned. Maybe some people really do show up when you least expect it. And maybe, just maybe, doing the right thing can change your life. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-life dramas and click the video on your screen. It was chosen just for you, and you're going to love it.